Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the season two of the Growth Invitation. In this season, as you know, I am committed to bringing you really powerful females from all around the world to share the challenges and growth as an invitation and inspiration to you all so that you know no matter what you are going through, where you are right now, what your starting point is, what you've experienced, you can always choose to grow and manifest your dream future. And today I am super excited to have my friend Mingxi on with me. Hello, Mingxi.
Hello everyone. Hi Nat. It's a pleasure to be here.
Hey, we have a really juicy topic to talk about today.
Yeah.
In our pre-chat, we're like, oh, we have so many ways that we can handle this, but we have picked something that is going to be super empowering for you, which is all about understanding the importance of reconnecting to yourself. Before we launch into that, Mingxi, I would love to have a quick intro from you about who you are.
Cool. Hi everyone. This is Mingxi. Already from China. I'm an artist right now. I'm calling myself that, and in the process of becoming. And at the moment, I'm really kind of exploring different ways of creating from my soul place to really deeply connect with my inner world. So that's where I am, and I have a lot more to share with, but I'm gonna hand that over to Jennifer now, so we can start. Yes.
And you know what? I love the way that you are always exploring and you call yourself an artist, but also in the making. And I think all of this exploration and trials, and if anyone what actually watches you on Instagram, it's incredible the different variety of things that you do, but it doesn't always start that way, and it wasn't always that way for you, I know. And so you went through a divorce a few years ago that broke your heart. It was difficult for you to get out of it, and from previous conversations, you completely lost trust in love and sometimes even like with yourself. So you went through this massive inner journey to get you to where you are now, to get you to this beautiful, smiley self that you are now, and to the point where you can actually start saying yes again. So I would love for you to share your story with the audience of what's actually been going on.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm actually really being honored to actually be here to actually share my story because I do have a lot to say. But the first thing I really want to say is like through my own kind of journey, the more I embracing the essence of myself, who I truly am at the core level, the more I feel so much alive and so much peace. This is something I have never experienced before, which I feel like I really want to let the audience to feel that in the sense like it's possible. Everything it's possible. If you really have the put your heart and soul into the right place, this is where I end with. And of course, like Jeanette mentioned about, it's not always like this. It's almost like 5 years ago, I would say, where my world, my old world started collapsing and being a people pleaser, being a good girl, like growing up, like in the Chinese culture, in the sense like I have to be obedient, I have to be always considering other people. So it's not being a really easy, I would say, journey for me to come to the full realization that I have the power to create the life I always wanted and be the person I really wanted and I have always dreamed of. Because I realized that being an artist have been with me since I was born, I would say. Because my mom actually shared such an interesting story before. Like, there were five boys were born before me, and I was born in this International Women's Day as well. And my cry on that day was the loudest. Everyone thought I was a boy again, but I came up with the girl on the single girl on that day, and really loud in that moment. But life didn't really always give you what you imagine, or even you how do you describe that, like, because I feel like a lot of like conditionings and culture and societal expectations, everything kind of wrapped us into such a tight box or tight kind of space where you are not able to express yourself fully. So that's actually what happened like 5 years ago when my world starts shifting, when I am actually realizing I have a voice, I can decide myself, and then my marriage actually starts falling apart, unfortunately. And that's the moment cracked me open in the sense like, wow, I don't know what to do because my life has always been, I always want to use this word dictated because being told by my mom, by relatives, by teachers, by everyone around me to say you should be like this, you should have a family, you should have a kid, and you should have a decent job, stability, security, everything. But underneath that layers, when I cracked myself open because of the level of emotional pain I was going through, a totally different world started emerging, I have to say. It's very it's very unfamiliar to start with. So there were endless kind of cries and hopelessness, and also directionless, let's say, and a lot of guilt, shame, like resentment, even the most challenging emotion I have ever embraced in my life on this journey for me have been anger, have been rage. I have never allowed to actually express that side of me at all. Because I feel like as soon as I show that side of me to people around me, to my friends, or to any situation, I'll be not even just being disliked, it's being abandoned, being dispelled, let's say, to actually my world will collapse. So it's actually really a lot of like weight attached to that and that emotion. But through a lot of like therapy sessions and somatic movement kind of practices, and I was looking for or even for the spiritual side of things as well, like the invisible, I suddenly felt like I touched something I was so scared to get in touch with before. But that moment when you feel so dark, feeling so helpless, feeling there's no motivation to live even. And for some reason, there's just like this higher power I start tap into and start connecting to and start having like really, really supportive and loving messages and voice, very fainted but coming to me. And that's the moment I start picking up these little cues, like hints, signs from life, from, I would say, everywhere. And then as I tune into it, and more start showing up. And then I start gathering, let's say, I think in spiritual world people are actually talking about soul retrieval, like collecting piece of here, piece of there, but all of that actually is a part of you being scattered, like because of whatever have been through in life. And slowly, slowly, that one piece at a time start coming back to me. That's when I start realizing I probably can. I probably can change. And that leading to one after another kind of exploration, deep kind of dive into like what does the things actually bring me joy? How joy feels like? And what is the true happiness rather than I was laughing in a group setting, but inside me I was hollow, I was empty, I was feeling what's the fucking is the point? Why I'm here? You know that feeling really disassociated. So for a long time I have been in that space. So I have to say the falling part of my marriage actually is becoming catalyst, let's say, that point to say I have to crack open to let the new things to come in, to let the light in, rather than putting myself always in this trap, in this box people put me in. And the whole society wanted me to mold me into something they think is the right way. So that's literally where I start realizing there's more to me, there's more to life. And let's just picking up all of these little things along the way. That's how my journey actually started. And looking back, I just have to say it's actually the most beautiful thing ever happened, regardless of the pain and darkness and everything been through. So
I absolutely love that. Thank you for talking so openly about it. Even, well, first of all, I think it's so great that you actually started, well, actually 5 years ago, because it is a journey and the journey that you are still on. And I mean, I'm still on my healing journey, but it's also about that the phases that you went through, because it's not just about, oh, I feel sorry for myself and this happened and I'm crying and I have to heal, I have trauma, but the anger is real. Like something, you're like the anger, the resentment, the frustration, the what the hell is going on? Why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to this guy, that girl, blah blah blah, whatever they said. That's the starting part. And then later on, as I mean, I went through this journey when, as I started getting better and I kind of grew that and then had better days. And then when I was having down days, I was like, what's wrong with you, Jeanette? Why are you doing this? You've got all of this knowledge and da da da.
it's so real.
And it's like literally like this. It's not even like, it's like this
Absolutely.
continuously. And you have the lowest of the low, and then you come high, and then you have the lowest of the low. But I think what you described really beautifully was that gathering of the shattered pieces of your soul, our souls,
Yes.
individuality, where everything is, we can pick it up little piece by piece, but you gotta find the string
Yeah.
to actually start pulling it so that you can start walking towards it. When you were talking about, being Chinese and the culture, I am also Chinese. I come from Hong Kong, and it was really interesting that even this time round, when I went back to Hong Kong, literally last week, 2 weeks ago now, um, I was getting my hair done, having facial, whatever. My mum planned this all for me. And the lady was actually saying, "Oh, you're such a good girl for listening to your mom and doing all of this." And I'm like, I don't know, I felt a bit like, I was like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, hang on a minute, that felt a bit weird. Like, I'm
Right?
such a good girl for not arguing with my mom, like, because she asked me. Well, I'm just grateful that she wanted to. Why does that make me a good girl, bad girl kind of situation?
Absolutely.
And it's that social pressure
Yeah.
and cultural pressure that we get put in, because exactly like you said, if we show any signs of difference in our emotions or in our behavior or in anything, it's like, what if we get abandoned? So let's kind of talk a little bit about that, because going on the journey of reconnecting to self, reconnecting to your soul. Not, I mean, it's not an easy journey, but also along the way, people sometimes don't approve.
Yeah, yeah. And you get
What
stuck.
happens
Yeah.
then?
I really feel like, because as you said, it's really, really resonating in a way like it's probably the most steep kind of roller coaster I've ever experienced, like rather than the physical one. But it's been like sometimes you really just feel like, because there was a time I was so fucking sorry about my language, but that's real. I really kind of embracing myself as a whole is where I realize I can really so fearful of embracing, because a lot of people are talking about shadow work. The real shadow work actually is very, very challenging because that's the dark space and the space where you have been hiding for whatever reason and trying to suppress, trying to hide by all means, by all cost. And anger is one thing for me. And I realize how much power, how much energy, how much like some people actually motivated by being angry because that's actually it's almost like the fuel, like what I mean, like sometimes. But I realize that's actually the underneath that. If we look even deeper than that, it's fear and sadness and grief even. If we don't bypass anger, I realize I would never touch that layer, which will release more energy in me to feel more alive, to feel more of myself. That's why I'm not really staying at the anger. Of course, I have resentment from my family for growing up, and everyone is talking about how can you still complain about them, and they send you abroad and support you financially for a study and give you such a beautiful life. I say I'm really grateful for that, but the damage they did is also real. It's also the fact, and my feeling of that is very valid as well
Mm.
until I was able to embrace that part, to really make peace to say, oh, yeah, because there's light, there's also darkness. And both things actually coexist. So you have to be able to acknowledge the either side of the things. Like, yes, they have done so much goodness in my life. I'm utterly, utterly grateful. But that doesn't override what they have done wrong. And because I love them so much, I wouldn't want to just express my anger, resentment. I want them to know I'm really just sharing from my heart, from what I failed to be understood, because I want to connect with them deeper. That's my way of showing my love rather than to blame them. That's what I realized over this journey. And I'm so grateful I have met so many supportive and amazing people helping me on this journey. Like somatic therapy, which I found is so, so, so useful, is really kind of because I feel like the disassociation for me is like I have living in my mental space for so long and I was not connecting with my body. Like I mentioned, like our inner union coming from the the yin and yang, the feminine energy and the masculine energy. And when I realized I suppressed so much of my masculine energy because it's been taken away from me, because my mom has been overprotecting, overriding my decision power, and trying to overly dictate how I should behave, what I should wear, what should I even eat, like very little things. That's her way of expressing her love. But that has a negative impact on me. This is what I say, like, in terms of to really unblock ourselves, we really need to dig deeper to see what is underneath that. I know some people feel great stay in the angry space because that gives them power. They feel like, oh, I can express my anger. I can express how pissed I am or how much power I have. That can even motivate people to chase the so-called money, success, and all of that. I'm not saying everyone's like doing that because of this, but I feel like this is something not many of us actually really look deeper and discuss enough to say, to be able to give you more freedom, all levels, not only just the financial material freedom, it's the mental freedom, physical freedom, and it's like the whole being. You feel like I am free. Everything come with my free will, how I want to express, how I want to choose, how I want to decide. All of this, I feel like that's given me the real, that I was always talking to some of my friends, sharing like, right now in my life, I can breathe so deeply in my with my whole body, which I have never experienced before. That's the level of depth I was really, really looking for. I feel like there's part of me always have been looking for the deeper meaning of behaviors, thoughts, mindset, and even the physical kind of coordinations. So for me, it's like really important to connect with that clarity, that meaning for me at the personal level. And then I will see why I'm doing certain things, why I'm behaving certain ways, and why I'm saying things in the way that sometimes I might not fully express myself, but what is blocking me? So for me, this is quite important for me to actually dig deeper. That's why I always want to kind of look inward. But another thing I really want to express here is like, in the past, I always look inward as well, but I didn't really have the right tool to look in this right place. That level of self-reflection actually make me depressed because I always judge myself. I always like criticize myself, always looking for fault. That's the perfectionism and everything kind of speaking as well, sabotage myself. And now, because I know who I am, found that core and essence, I realize that voice has been also coming from the external conditioning who actually continuously telling me things like that. And the internal, I was really scattered. All my energy has been being pulled by the social media, parents, and my social circles, and even colleagues. You subconsciously start kind of comparing your life to theirs and question myself, say, why I'm not there yet? And what is that? Actually, that's not the right question to ask. So over this past few years, the most valuable lesson I've learned going inward is really learning what is the right question to ask to help me to go deeper into myself. That's where I find the gold, where I find the with the pressure, even you start making the diamond, let's say, like saying all of these experiences going through the high pressure, going through the suffering, it started becoming so much treasure within me.
I find that so powerful because what you said were two key things. One is your feelings and your emotions are valid. Or it's not about whether anyone else has done right or wrong. Our feelings are valid, full stop. Like no matter, doesn't matter whether it's positive, negative. Then, because I think that validation is a really profound and important piece of information because that starts us trusting ourselves. But then linking on top of that, what you said a lot was about awareness, self-awareness. Because with self-discovery can only come if you become self-aware.
Yeah.
Like there's this like a prerequisite, that's the word I was looking, prerequisite to, the self-awareness, reconnecting to yourself and finding all the pieces is if you become self-aware. And to become self-aware is asking ourselves the right question.
Yeah.
What is the question that we should be asking ourselves? Is something that we actually should think about and spend time on thinking about. Are we asking ourselves the right question? Are we asking ourselves, why am I not there yet? Or are we asking ourselves a different question, which might be, what is it that makes me happy? First of all,
Blocking.
like forget about what everyone else is doing. What makes me happy? Why do I want to be here?
Yeah. And
And then go about doing anything else.
yeah, I do want to add to that because what makes us happy actually took me quite a long time to actually define what real happiness for me as well. It's funny enough, people are all talking about like high and but I realize the instant gratification and also the dopamine hit only lasts for so long. When I'm, for me personally, like this is something I realize I do need that depth. Whenever I'm able to hit that spot in the level of depth, I find that long lasting happiness. That happiness becoming part of your being even. That's what I really want to share with the audience to say there is this point where you can find that regardless your external environment when you are able to touch with that. It's not something you find you're gonna stay there forever. That's not what I'm saying. But this is quite important, I would say, to actually over the journey I start having like a glimpse of that and then start connecting to a point of that. And then some of the things leading me to that kind of space. And I realize, oh, all of this kind of activities helping me. Like sometimes dance, I can flow. I literally feel like I'm in the flow state on the dance floor. That actually is the, I don't know how to describe it to you, but that level of happiness is like whole being. It's so
When
amazing.
you're in the zone,
Yes.
and if anyone has watched Soul, like by Pixar,
I
that
love
that
that. Yes,
zone,
thank you for
yes,
mentioning that as well. Yes,
my favorite film.
yes. One of my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and when you get into the flow, you get to, well, I guess that's the state that we call happiness, right? It's a state, and it's a state of being, not a state of doing.
yeah. Oh,
And it's a state of just whatever it is that we want to do in that moment,
yeah,
it's okay. Like whatever it is, that maybe it's happiness, maybe it's peace, maybe it's success, like whatever it is being in that state of what we're looking for. But then being aware enough and connecting to ourselves, our true inner self enough. I know that's like a term which has been so overutilized these
no,
days, but there is no other way of describing
yeah,
true inner self, where it's like I don't care about anyone else, I just care about me, and that's it. um I had this really kind of like profound realization. I was listening to a podcast about like by with Rick Rubin, which is who's one of the most renowned music producers of all time. And he was like, well, how do you ever feel like you're not gonna make enough good enough music? I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. And he's like, no, not really. I produce what I like.
yeah,
I mean, it's got him where he is now. I just produce what I like. And do you ever think about what no, I don't ever care about what anyone else thinks. I just care about what I like. And if I do what I like, it happens to be what other people also like.
exactly, exactly.
And I think that's the magic.
Yes,
And that's a magnetism
yeah,
that we all have. And I know that we have all been in the situation where we're so in flow, we're so passionate about something that we forget about time. We forget about, we're just in that moment, whoever we're with, even if it's with ourselves, and we forget about what everyone else and go, oh, wait, like, is it been like 5 hours already?
Exactly, yes. So true.
That's the state. And the more cumulatively we do it, the more we can feel into our reconnecting to self.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And also another thing I would say, as you know, because I have kind of trying to explore so many different things, kind of challenged myself outside my comfort zone. But one thing I do want to mention about is like when I challenge myself outside my comfort zone, I kind of feel like that's actually leading me to where I want to go. It's not aimlessly just to do whatever. I feel like they still bring me so much like joy in the sense like I really enjoy that. Even though the process, like the boxing, I really felt like I was gonna die in between because punching other people, that's just out of question, out of my mind. But that at least taught me I have the fucking strength to protect myself now. I don't have to choose violence, but I know I have the capability and realize my own strength, for example. So what I want to say here is like also it sounds cliche, but it's still challenge ourselves, come out of our comfort zone in the right way, actually expand us to grow our like stamina, capability of dealing with stress, even in a social setting. I realize how powerful that actually is. That's the reason I actually realized, okay, all of these things I really wanted to do, but I was too afraid to do before. And now I have no excuse to say, because I want to grow. My soul literally calling me to say, I want you to expand and grow as well. So I have that accumulated, like you said, all the joy, the power, and the inner strength I accumulated to making me really want to challenge myself. And in that way, I met so many amazing people as well, which is like just magical. It's really, really magical. Yes.
So, as we kind of come to a close to our magical task, which it really is, it always is, um, would you say is one piece of advice that you can give to the audience to say, if you're experiencing something similar, or if you are going through a point where you cannot believe that possible things are possible, or if they're wanting to start on that journey of reconnecting to themselves and start really truly believing that there is possibility for them out there, what would you say that would be?
This thing actually came to me like really strongly. What I felt like is actually to slow down, to really slow down, and then to connect with that feeling first. Because I realize how potent that is. Because in nowadays in today's society, even though I see a lot of people start talking about it, I feel like start a lot of people not doing it because the momentum of actually the whole society trying to push you to a point, trying to rush you to do things, trying to rush you to grab into actually attention or even physical things, everything. That's all noise. That's all distraction. For me, the most powerful thing I realize is to slow down, to connect with my feeling first. That actually lead to I can see a bit more. I can breathe first of all. I can see wider. I can not like a horse only see like that way. There's a point we can't do that when you have a really, really clear. But I would say nowadays I would really suggest people to slow down, to breathe, to really see what you already have and where you truly want to go.
Yes.
That
And
kind of
actually take the action of slowing down.
yes, that's a good way to say it.
I'm totally guilty of it. I'm talking about, okay, slow down. But I've got like my
Exactly.
list.
Exactly.
Yeah. And allow ourselves to really breathe into our life. Like you said, breathe deep into our core and then come out from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your stories, and your wisdom, Mingxi. It's really, this is why I really wanted to bring her on. It's like,
Oh,
I know that we're going to have a really powerful conversation, and it is such an important topic right now of reconnecting to ourselves because I know that so many of us are disconnected and it's so easy to get disconnected with who we really are, what we really want. And I think that hopefully this conversation today that we had will help you in the audience really think about and realize and understand the importance of it and start thinking about how to go about doing it for yourself. So, if you have any thoughts on this episode, we would love to hear from you. Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you have had any similar experiences, please do share it. And also your takeaways from Mingxi's stories and her shares. We would love to hear from you. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, Mingxi, for giving us your time. Really appreciate it. And for everyone, we will speak to you again in a few weeks' time. Bye for now.
thank you. Bye.